Hello and welcome back to another One Piece video. So today I have green yellow law for you guys. So obviously this leader fell off a bit just because blue purple Luffy and green purple Luffy is not as predominant anymore in the format, right? So since there's a lot of new decks that rose up like green Zoro, law needs a new identity in order to keep up with this format. And I tried the old build where you're running like a lot of top end, like the 7 cost law. I even tried the new Mihawks. I tried the 8 cost kid, but it just feels like this deck is a little too slow for that now, especially since the format is a lot faster and is a lot centralized about pressuring life. That build just was a little too slow, right? So I decided to keep this build as low to the ground as possible. So as you can see, the highest drop we have now is our 5 cost in the form of Cavendish, the blocker law, and the restand law. And this is the new identity that I'm taking on for green yellow law because this leader, actually you can pressure your opponent super hard thanks to the rush Zoro. And I put him as a 4 of just because he is the key to beating green Zoro, and because green Zoro is so powerful against rogue decks, you need to make sure that the deck you're playing is able to beat green Zoro, and I'll be showing you guys multiple videos on how to do that with this list. But yeah, essentially this list just loads up on your combo pieces, so your 5 drops and the 3 cost Bonnie obviously, and then the Zoros, and the rest of your cards are really just 2k counters and searchers, right? So we have the 4 Peronas, 4 Bonnies, 4 Kid and Killers, and the 4 Luffys. So this build is super consistent, and the goal is just to pressure your opponent as much as you can using the rush and the restand laws, right? So the Cavendish, I like him a lot obviously because he's the best like 5 drop in the game for green, but also he actually baits out a lot of resources out of your opponent. Like if your opponent sees Cavendish, they're going to try their best to get rid of him, but in actuality your win condition is actually like your Zoros and laws, right? Your restand law and your Zoro. So if they use a lot of cards trying to get rid of Cavendish, that's really good for you because then you'll be able to pressure the rest of their life using your other pieces. So enough of the deck list. Let's just hop over to some gameplay. Okay, so the first match, we are going second against Zoro here, and our hand is pretty good, so I decided to keep that. The main goal is to just try to search as much as possible, really just searching for your restand laws, because your Zoros are the key to winning this matchup. You want to poke in as many like resources or as many minimums and 6k swings as you can. Just because Zoros run a lot of bricks and also a lot of their 1k counters they actually don't want to use. So the more you can pressure them, the better. And then luckily for us, we did get a Zoro at a life here. So already you're going to see why this card is so valuable in this format, because you're able to pressure your opponent even if you get your life down low. So swinging in with the Zoro here with a 5k swing. And I think probably counters out of the first one. Oh, he actually takes the first one, so that's good for us. But using that Dawn to assign and swing with 6 with our leader, bouncing up the Luffy probably to play out the restand law or the blocker law, and then playing out another Zoro to swing in another 5k swing at his leader. And so we're already 3 threats deep on board. And it's only his 5 Dawn turn, right? So the thing about Zoro is that he's really good at breaking down your board one at a time, but when you swarm board this quickly, especially with this much rush, you're gonna find that he has a really hard time dealing with that. And so obviously we're just gonna defend our law over our life, just so we have more swings on board, but I'm playing down the Luffy now. Being able to find another blocker law, which is good for us. But I think at this point, we're probably just going to be pressuring life here, right? There's actually no more reason for us to leader ability again, just because we already have immense pressure on board. It's really important to just use our resources here to pressure life as much as we can. So I do swing in a 6k here. And then here, I'm just trying to fish for as many 2k counters as I can. Especially since he doesn't have one Dawn up. We should be able to pressure him. If he has 2Ks, then we'll be able to get that out. But he's already down to 2 life. And because he took one of the 6s, I'm actually going to swing in with the blocker law here, right? Just because we still have 2 Dawn to work with. And we can play down the Beige, so we have 2 blockers to protect ourselves from the crackback. And then luckily for us, he does take that last 6k swing. So that means that if he doesn't kill us this turn, we're definitely going to be able to crack in super heavy next turn. And so luckily for him, he does get the waterfall out of life, being able to KO our Zoro. But that's totally fine because, yeah, he only has one life left. So as you can see, the Zoro is super pressured here. He's only at 7 Dawn and already he's at 1 life. And so we're really forcing him to decide whether he wants to just use all of his Dawn to pressure our board, which we are really happy about, or if he wants to just try to push for game, which we will punish him for. So he does swing into the Zoro here. I just want to make sure that if we choose to defend him, we'll be able to counter out of the leader swing, and we aren't able to, and so I actually let him go here. And then I fake him out with a block with a 7k swing, and then obviously just countering out of the 8k swing here. And then at this point we have to go for game, so I go in with a 7k swing just because he took a 6k swing last turn. This forces 3 cards out of his hand, and so a 7 into a 9 should be able to close out the match here. So yeah, able to take a really quick win against Green Zoro. And let's just go over to the next Zoro match. Okay, so this time around, we're going to be going first against Zoro, which we actually prefer, just because this build is the more aggressive build of Green-Yellow Law. And so going first means that we can swing first, means that we can pressure him harder, right? So luckily for us, we were able to find one of our searchers on our first turn. And so him resting down the Hiyori here, we should be able to punish it or kill it with the Luffy without needing to commit our leader swing into it. So probably just going to be swinging in first. And then poking in 5 at life. Okay, so I guess it's fine to search with the Bonnie first. Probably just picking up the blocker Bonnie, and we do. And then using that last Dawn to swing in 6 at lead here. So already taking 1 life, which is good for us. Typically against these like aggro decks, you really want to counter out if you can with 1 card. But it seems like he wants to save his counter, or he doesn't have any 2k counters to work with right now. So off of the Perona, he does find himself a TCG, which is really bad for us, but not too bad, just because we do have other plays, right? So like if we play down a 5 cost, he'll be able to TCG it and just crack into it. But thanks to the Bonnie we have in hand, we're able to just develop 2 blockers. And so if you rest down one of our big blockers, we can save it using the Bonnie here. So this is what I'm talking about here. So Zoro, even if you get him out of life, is super good too. And this is why I really like this card against the green Zoro. So then I bounce the Luffy there in order to replay the Zoro. And so I don't want to get hit with another waterfall trigger, and so I swing first with lead and then swinging in with the the Zoro here. I guess the sequence doesn't matter too much, right? Because if the Zoro hits the waterfall out of the life, he'll still get KO'd. But it's just if he took it with my leader swing, right? So TCG here, resting down the Law. Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. We could block out of it with the Bonnie here, but I think I decided to counter out just because we do have a lot of counter in hand. And also we should be able to search next turn as well. But yeah, looking really good here. Probably just going to take this next swing. And this is the key thing about this matchup is you shouldn't be afraid to go down low against Zoro. I know it's really scary, especially when they have like Deadman. But this build runs so many blockers that you should be able to survive. And then here, yeah, we have 3 blockers on board, so going down to 0 life, I am not afraid of him cracking in. Especially if you look at our hand, we have so much counter to work with that there's no way he should be able to kill us next turn. And then this is the thing that I really like about the restand law. Restand law restands 5 costs or lower, and so it can actually restand your Zoro as well. So restanding the Zoro, bringing it to 7, or swinging in with another 7, and then actually able to bring him down to 1 life. And this time bringing him down to 1 life, and we have a completely full board. If he doesn't kill us this turn, then we should be able to crack back and finish the match next turn. So he plays down a TCG here, but should be fine. I think he swings in with a 8, right? But if he swings an 8 at one of our bodies, yeah, we just have so much counter. It shouldn't matter too much. So I do use the blocker just because the Bonnie is very weak. So at this point he can swing in 10 with TCG, or restand his leaders to swing in 7, 8. But either way, we had enough counter for both scenarios. So then at this point, I think we just wrap it up with a 9k swing starting off. And then if he takes this, it's going to be a friggin' 5, 5, 12. And that's just like way too much, right? But like we predicted, he didn't have any 2k counters. He did have the event in hand and a blocker, but honestly, even if he put down that blocker and didn't go for game, we would be able to just crack out anyways, right? Because no 2k counters means that his defense is super, super low, and we were able to pressure out another win against Green Zoro here. All right, so the last game I got for you guys, we're going to be going first again. Able to find one of our 16 searchers, so that's going to be super nice. And then being able to find Bonnie, and Bonnie, as you can see, is the key piece as well, just because she enables all of our combos. And we should be able to, yeah, we should be able to just punish him from here. So this is actually a misplay on my part. I thought Bonnie could put a 3 cost or a 5 cost or less in life, but she can only put a 5 cost in life. And so actually, instead of playing Bonnie there, I should have played the Rush Zoro. That way we can just rush in with the Zoro, forcing him to swing in, just because we knew he had Kuina from the Perona searches. There was just, yeah, no reason to play the Bonnie there over the Rush Zoro. But nonetheless, it's not too bad because the restand law or the blocker law is able to cycle out our Zoro anyways. And so we're able to pressure him with a 5 and a 6k swing. And then here, he does swing in 8 into our blocker law. Obviously, we're just going to counter out of this one. It's really important to save your bodies when you can. And then we're just going to be taking this 8k swing here. So luckily for us, we do have another Zoro in hand. I don't think we need it anymore. But I think at this point, we should be able to just pressure with what we have on board. Here, I was looking to see if we can find any combo enablers. So like Beige or Bonnie. And then luckily for us, we did find a Bonnie. And so I swing in with a 6k swing with the Rush Zoro here. And the reason why I wanted to find Bonnie is because Bonnie helps us find, one, gets us a blocker, but also lets us cheat out this restand law that's going to be able to help us just pressure him nonstop. So I'm just poking in 6. He does give us the 2k. And then instead of using the restand, I actually opt to use the blocker law, because this will enable our current blocker law on the board to swing as well. Yeah, and with 4 blockers on the board, I think there's actually no way for him to really punch through. Here, I'm actually surprised I didn't swing in with the blocker law, the 6k one, but I guess I see why. Looking at my hand, I don't have any 2k counters, and so I was really afraid of him just like cracking in super heavy and killing us. But yeah, luckily we don't get punished, and so the TCG comes in, swinging in 7. We're just gonna give him the Bonnie off the rip, just because to counter his leader ability, you really need 3 blockers. You need 3 blockers to counter the leader ability plus the dead man. So here he actually swings in 8 at lead, or 8 at the blocker law, which we will save with the Bonnie. And then doing the math here, we are able to counter out. And then if he deadmans here, he should be able to swing in with his leader. But okay, it looks like he just misclicked there. But looking at his hand, even if he swung in, we would have blocked with the blocker law, and then obviously just load it up, right? So start off with a 9k swing. He's able to counter out of that one, but then after that, absolutely no more counter left in hand. And we should have been able to end the match from there, especially with a restand law in hand, and especially with another Rush Zoro in hand. So yeah, that's basically it for the video, guys. So obviously this deck is tuned to beat Green Zoro, just because Green Zoro is Green Yellow Law's like worst matchup in the top of the meta. And so I really wanted to cook up something that can help, you know, Law players beat this annoying deck. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.